Hiya, this is your buddy Marty here. And by golly, yep, we just had the longest night of the year. That's what it was. That was the winter solstice, and it occurred last night. All of us critters here in the woods, we were kind of hanging out together and chatting it up and celebrating that longest night of the year. And by golly, the raven that lives down the street from us here, he said that he had a really cool story that was kind of a Native American tradition about the raven, and how the raven was very instrumental in doing something really spectacular for those Indian fellers who lived here in North America, Turtle Island. Yep, by golly. So anyway, the story he told me, and I think it's a pretty good story, starts out long ago when the world was young. The earth and all the living critters here were shrouded in darkness. It was said that a great chief was keeping all the light for himself, but no one was certain, for the light was so carefully hidden that no one had ever actually seen it. The chief knew that his people were suffering, but he was a selfish man and did not care. Yep, he was kind of an ego-driven person. Anyway, Raven was sad for all the people, because he knew that without light, the earth would not bring forth the food the people needed to survive. So Raven decided to rescue the light. He knew that he must find a way to the chief's village, and when he arrived there, he said to himself, I must find a way to live in the chief's house and capture the light. So Raven transformed himself into a seed and floated on the surface of the nearby stream. When the chief's daughter came to draw water, Raven was ready. No matter how she tried to drink some of the water, the seed was always in her way. Finally, she tired of trying to remove it, and she drank it along with the water. Well, that woman became pregnant, and in time she gave birth to a son, who was a raven in disguise. The chief loved his grandson, and whatever the child wanted, his grandfather gave him. As the boy crawled, he noticed many bags hanging on the walls of the lodge. One by one, he pointed to them, and one by one, his grandfather gave them to him. Yep. Finally, his grandfather gave him the bag that was filled with the stars, and the bag that contained the moon. The child rolled the bags all around the floor of the lodge, and then suddenly let go of them. The bags immediately rose to the ceiling, drifted through the smoke hole, and flew up into the heavens. There they burst open, spilling the stars and the moon and everything into the night sky. That was pretty groovy. By golly, he put those stars and that moon and all those planets up there. Well, over the course of time, the boy continued to play with bag after box and after box, until one day he pointed to the last box left in the lodge. His grandfather took him upon his lap and said, When I open this box, I am giving you the last and dearest of my possessions, the sun. Please take care of it. Then the chief closed the smoke hole and picked up a large wooden box he had hidden among the other boxes in the shadows of one corner of the lodge. As soon as the chief removed the sun from this box, his lodging was filled with brilliant light. The child laughed with delight as his grandfather gave him the fiery ball to play with. He rolled the sun around the floor of the lodging until he tired of the game and pushed it aside. His grandfather then replaced the sun in its box. Day after day, Raven and his grandfather repeated this process. Raven would point to the sun's box, play with it until he tired of it, and then watch as his grandfather put the fiery ball away. Finally, the day came when the chief was not as careful as usual. He forgot to close the smoke hole, and he no longer watched Raven play with the fiery ball with the normal attention that he did. The child resumed his raven shape, grabbing the ball of light in his claws, and flew up through the smoke hole into the sky, traveling in the direction of the river. Raven spied people fishing in the dark, and he said to them, If you will give me some fish, I will give you some light. At first they did not believe him. However, when Raven raised his wing and showed them enough light for them to fish with ease, they gave him part of their catch. When he had his fill of fish, he lifted his wing, grabbed the sun with both claws, and tossed it high into the sky. Now my people will have light, both day and night, he exclaimed, and from that day forward, the people no longer lived in darkness. Well, by golly, I thought that was a pretty darn good story, and so I told Raven, we really appreciated his sharing that with us. And as you can see, that's part of the mythology of Turtle Island here, the North American continent. And by golly, I think it's pretty relevant for all of us. We can now honor these longer days that are coming along. We have gone through the longest night of the year, and optimism is on the upswing. Yep, by golly, things are getting a lot better all the way around. You know that Raven represents the spirit that brings light to the dark places in the human soul, and so there's that joy and that reaching out to each other as we expect more light to come into our lives, and we share that light with everybody we encounter. So this is Marty, and I hope you enjoyed this very intimate kind of story that was shared with us by one of the critters here in the woods. And I'm wishing you more light and more love and more wonderful stuff, because life is pretty good. Yep, by golly, life is good. And I had a great time sharing that story with you, and I want to encourage you to get out there and share the love and share the light. Yep, by golly, share the love and share the light. And I'll be talking to you soon. Bye now.